so I'm going to lower the bar to 4.8.
Right.
Yeah, but now you're losing all these people. Your PVA sucks. When in reality, find somebody that can get you where you want to go.
Absolutely. Last time we did this, we got a lot of people who really commented how much they enjoyed hearing us. We're both purpose driven, but we come from a little different perspective, and I think it's a lot of fun, the dynamic. And so I really want to just focus on like the thing that you love the most. I mean, because when that comes across, your purpose, your passion, um, saving the world, all the stuff that you love to talk about, I want to focus on that. But before we start, let me ask you: is there a specific topic you want to address?
We got the day one, day two boot camp coming up, right? So there's four simple things that anybody can do on day one, and I will guarantee if you do these things, you will get 100% of new patients agree at the end of day one that chiropractic is a healthcare lifestyle.
Awesome. So before you start that as a topic, I'm Dr. Miles Bodzin. This is Dr. Fred DiDomenico. We are going to rock and roll today and share with you guys some great insights on improving your enrollments, your conversion, your closes, whatever you want to call it, your day one, day two process of enrolling patients in care. Because at the end of the day, if you're not successfully enrolling them in care, what are you doing, right? Like at the end of the day, right? If you don't set it up right from the beginning, you're never going to get great clinical outcomes with your patients. So it all starts with this. And so, Fred, I'm really excited to share. I love going to your programs. I love hearing your perspective. So let's share. You just got started by saying there's these four key things. Let's roll with it. Let's go spend the next 20, 30, 40 minutes or so talking about these concepts and how doctors can better enroll patients in care.
Yeah, now here's the thing, you had a big practice, tons of lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. And so you know this. You have to know the outcome first. Like what outcome do you want? So when people say, well, I want to get a patient to commit, then you'll create a patient and they'll quit because you set the wrong goal. You set a small goal, right? Because for whatever reason, you're selling a program. That's a problem. Now you said it in the beginning. Whatever you got to get them in a lifestyle right from day one. And so that's the whole thing. Like when you practice, you knew the outcome that we're going to create a lifestyle patient. Now, the best way to do that is when they say it, when they agree this is healthcare lifestyle for them and their family. What's the probability you're going to double or triple the amount of ROF spouses you get at day two ROF? Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you four things, simple things. It's so freaking easy. You just got to have the mindset.
It's interesting. I was recently interviewed myself, and not to divert into that, but mindset. It all starts with that. Like they were asking, like, what are the key things of being cash based and blah blah. I said it starts with mindset. Like, and you just said like you have to have that. So let's start there.
Yeah. So first of all, what's lifestyle? The principle. And the problem is management groups, been a bunch, will give them what they want and then tell them what they need. Well, guess what? Humans don't work that way. You can't focus on their pain and then tell them lifestyle. You rewired them. It's like it's easier to learn something the first time than it is to relearn. So if you're using that strategy, you're telling human beings to relearn. Like talk about working hard. So anyway, so you got to get them lifestyle from the beginning. So the principle is lifestyle. Now, if you just say what I'm about to tell you verbatim, I'll go slow. Spinal cord is a lifeline, right? Brain sends energy down the spinal cord to all the organs, and that energy keeps you alive and healthy. When the spine's out of alignment, it causes stress to the spinal cord, shuts the energy down, right? And here's the key. The amount of energy will determine whether you're in the state of health or state of disease. Now, right in the pre-consult, you change, you're off pain, you're either state of health, state of disease. And then now, that's all you have to talk about. Now, here's what's going to bend. It's going to bend your mind and probably may piss some people off. Eliminate the word adjustment. Now, why would you do that? Because it's subjective. Well, I'm busy. I don't need an adjustment today. I'll go tomorrow. It's not that it's a bad word. It's that some people add their own meaning because you didn't add the right meaning. And I would eliminate spine. Why? Because some people don't care. They don't care. But and now, so what do you talk about? State of disease, state of healing. So when people come in, what do you say? Well, let's get you adjusted. Let's check your spine. How about let's see how you're healing today?
Love it.
Because 100% of people care about healing. Not everybody cares about adjustment. Not everybody cares about a spine. How do you know? Do a screening and say, want to check your posture? How many people say no?
It's interesting you raise that because I said a little differently, but it's the same concept. First, let me just say how powerful the message is you started with, because that message is what got me to drop out of engineering school and actually become a chiropractor. Like that,
Exactly.
that's such a strong message that the nervous system, the master control system of the body, interferes with health. Removing interference allows the body to function better. That resonated with me, and off to the races I was to become a chiropractor. But what you just got done saying is people don't care about the spine and they don't care about, like, I hear you on that. Like you say, not let's get you checked, get adjusted. Let's check the state of your health. Like I love that. What I would say was a little different. I would say let's make sure your immune system's functioning well. But regardless, the subject matter is you're not talking about the nerve. You're not focusing on the thing you don't care about. And I love it. It's just another way of doing it. But the bottom line is that you're focusing on something that is motivating to the patient and takes the conversation away from what I think is important here. You're taking away from the pain and the symptoms as the thing you're monitoring. That's the way I interpret that.
Yeah, you're in the first 2 minutes and you're saying you're either in the state of health, state of disease. Now that's all you need to talk about on the daily visit. Are you in the
Right.
state? If you miss an appointment, you're in the state of disease. How do I know? I got to adjust 5 things. I shouldn't be adjust on Friday. You shouldn't be adjust if you adjusted 5 things on Monday and they make their appointments. You shouldn't be adjusting 5 things on Friday, or something's not working, right? So anyway, that's one. So they got to get the principle, and that's how you communicate. Spinal cord is a lifeline. Second thing, what they weren't told. Now here's the problem. Chiropractors think their job is to fix the spine. Now I work with a lot of CBP docs, man. Spine mechanical geeks. I'm a total mechanical geek. However, how did you end up like that? Now I tore a ligament, personal story. I tore a ligament in my hip, you know, pure disregard for my physical capabilities and
and,
blowing through everything, whatever.
forgetting you're not 21 anymore.
Yeah, well, what are you talking about, man? Blow those guys away in their 20s in the gym all the time. But anyway, so I x-ray myself and I'm like, shit, man, my spine's right on the line of an optimal spine. I use a little bit more curve in my neck, but I got a compression fracture in C5. That's another whole tequila story. But why is it on the line? Now I look at the sagittal, the thoracic vertebrae, they have dings in them, man. There's little chips, and it's like, holy shit. But why is it on the line? Because I live a chiropractic lifestyle, right?
Yeah,
So anybody that shows up, the only reason they showed up is because they never took care of their spine and nervous system. Why? Nobody told them. Pain-based chiropractor didn't tell them. Their MD didn't tell them. Their pediatrician didn't tell them when they gave them antibiotics. They didn't know. So you're showing up at 42 years old, and the only problem you have is your lifestyle. So we use this analogy. If somebody goes in, I'm getting these dizzy spells, and I'm going to go to the doc, and he takes their blood pressure. Your blood pressure is 200 over 150, dude. Your heart's going to explode. They do an angiogram. You got 4 clogged arteries. You're going to the hospital right now. What is that person's problem? Is the person's problem the 4 clogged arteries, or how he lived to get 4 clogged arteries?
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Lifestyle.
Yeah, lifestyle. So they do the all the stents, they do all that, and then what's he say? You got to get off the freaking couch. No more Uber Eats with McDonald's 3 times a day. You got to start walking. Why? Any good doctor would change their lifestyle. The problem isn't the 4 clogged arteries. The problem isn't that they're subluxated. The problem is they never took care of it. So if the only problem you're communicating to them is lifestyle, the only answer is we're going to get you out of a crisis, i.e., 4-way bypass, And then we're going to teach you how to use your body in a way that creates health rather than disease. Great one liner, right? The only problem you're solving is lifestyle. That's why they bring their family. The reason they don't bring their family is, well, my 6-year-old doesn't have back pain. My 6-year-old, even if they get it, my 6-year-old doesn't have asthma. But has your 6-year-old been adjusted since birth? No. Well, they got a spinal cord, so now when you haven't been told, you create the enemy.
Well, tell me what you mean.
Well, what it is if you weren't told, can you see how you develop these health problems? You never had a strong immune system. You had asthma as a kid. Nobody ever told you. So you've suffered with asthma for 20 years because we help people with that every day. When the MD gave you the asthma inhaler, did he ask you about any traumas? Now, well, I fell off my horse when I was 16. I landed on my head. Well, then you developed asthma by the time you were 19. Why did you get asthma 3 years after a compression injury to your spine? Right? That's the progression of
Right.
subluxation. Did the MD ever tell you that? Did he ever even ask you about traumas? All he said was, hey, when you can't breathe and you think you're going to die, just do this. Did he ever tell you, you should get your spine checked by a chiropractor because you fell off your horse and this is a pattern?
Right, right, right. So let me ask you this for the listener right now, if this is point two, how do we summarize this point? Like it's tell the truth. Like how would you summarize this specific point? Like the first point was his
Tell
head
them what they
space.
weren't told.
Tell them what they weren't told. All right, there you go. So
Did they, 3 words, did they tell you? You're going to do that in a consultation.
did they tell you?
Did
Love
they
it.
tell you? Why? Because the person coming in with back pain has menstrual problems, can't get pregnant, is doing IVF right now. You know what I mean? I never had one pregnant woman that couldn't get pregnant, even multiple IVFs, not get pregnant. Because chiropractic, turn on the energy, man, it works every time, right? So that's healing. So one, got to give them the principle. Now, here's a way they can get the principle and make it identity. It can't be a fact, it's got to be who they are,
Right.
right? So you say, would you agree the quality of your health determines the quality of your life?
Yeah,
Yes. Well, if spinal cord puts energy to all the organs, keeps you alive and healthy, then can you see if the amount of energy is determining state of health, state of disease, and you're not getting all the energy, you're in the state of disease, would that affect the quality of your life?
for sure.
For sure. So can you see now how your spinal cord is functioning and the energy and healing in your body is determining your quality of life? Now, what are you selling? Quality of life, not spinal correction,
Right.
not your asthma's getting better, not your back pain or your headaches. And then I would go, you're a dad, right? Speak to the
Sure.
values of a dad. What are the values of a dad? Provide and protect. So if you came in and I go and you agreed, yep, it's affecting the quality of life. I go, I see on your application, patient application, you got 2 kids. How many kids you got?
I've got 2 kids.
2 kids, and they're older
Yep, they're older.
and they have kids.
One of them does, yes.
Okay, there you go. So what would I say? I'm sure your kids are older and they probably have kids. And then the third step, do you know you're passing this through generations? You got it from someone.
Right.
So generational patterns. One, principle. How do you make it personal? Spinal cords affect the quality of your life. Two, what you weren't told. So you've suffered with disease and health problems that are passed through generations. By the way, it's not your DNA. Postural patterns are passed through
Sure.
generation. Why? Kids mimic parents 100% of the time.
We see animals get mimicking their owners too. Like,
I know.
right? You see that guy
Yeah,
walking and his dog looks like him, right?
yeah, I know. So generational patterns.
Yeah.
Right? So what would you say? Hey, Miles, you're a dad. Would you agree your highest value is provide and protect the health of your family? You got to provide a way to protect the health of your family so they can have the highest level of success, that they're not going to end up with all the screwed up shit like you got, because we just
Right.
got 18 different health problems.
Yeah.
And you got them. And what we're going to ask, 4 questions, right? Who'd you get it from? Who are you giving it to? Who else in your family has it? Because we're going to get the whole family tree. And do they live in the area? So consultation. So step one, principle. Step two, they didn't tell you. That's why you're suffering. And nobody else in your whole family tree knows it. Step three, generational patterns. You got it from someone and you're giving it to your kids, right? Step four, give them purpose. So then I would say, Miles, you're a dad. Hey, you don't want your kids suffering like you do, right? Now,
Of course
what
not.
now? Patterns are systems, not diagnoses. Because you could say you have asthma and your kid, your 6-year-old, doesn't have asthma, but
Right.
they have allergies. Same problem, right? It's an immune system problem.
Yep.
You could have a mom that had cancer. So it goes cancer. What's next lowest? Autoimmune. What's next lowest? IBS, that's autoimmune. Asthma, that's starting autoimmune. Recurrent colds and flus, allergies. What's low below that? Sinus problems, ear infections. All it depends is how long have they been subluxated.
Right.
It's all the same pattern. Now, what am I going to do? Hey, if you can break that pattern, not only correct it in you and your kids, but you have a message that could affect generations come. You could eliminate an immune system pattern that's been plaguing your family for generations, so no other future generation has that. Do you see that you have the power of that message?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, who do you want to start with?
That's right.
They'll go, I got to get my daughter. They already know. They already know. When you ask a parent, they already know. They just haven't brought them in. Crucial question. Who do you want to start with? Because if you say, bring your whole family in, they're going to be like, oh my God, man,
It's
I got a kid in
overwhelming.
football, piano lessons, ballerina. My wife's pulling her hair out. There's no way. But when you say, who do you want to start with? My 16-year-old son's got
I love
allergies.
that. That one, I won't call it line because, but that one statement is
Mindset.
mindset of it. That's a really powerful thing. That who do you want to start with is a much more powerful question to ask someone versus let's get your family in or
It's
it's
too
just
overwhelming.
right. It's too overwhelming. I agree 1000% on that statement.
Yeah, because you get one, then you'll work on them. You'll have the whole family in a month at the
Absolutely.
longest. Then you teach your
See,
workshop
so
and
many
you sign
chiropractors.
up everybody.
I will say so many doctors do try to get whole families in right to begin with, or on the phone, it's like, is this appointment for you or your whole family? It's like, I don't know anybody that calls an appointment initially says it's my whole family. Like it's just get that person in front of you and start that conversation. Well, who's next? Then who's next? Then who's next? I love that. Me personally, as I hear, I really resonate with that.
Well, and so what do you do? First, they got to get the principle, man, because principle's lifestyle. Otherwise, they're focused on pain,
Yeah,
right? Spinal cord's a lifeline, right? And you're getting to the amount of energy determines state of health, state of disease. So now you establish first reference point. Now, nobody else told you that. So when we're going through the consult and I'm pulling out 17 different organ problems, why do you have it? You never took care of your spine and nervous system. Now, the problem is all these patterns, 17 health problems, you got them from someone and you're giving them to the next generation. Well, they don't have any of these problems. They're only 5 years old. I know, but if that pattern is starting right now and you can make sure they never got any of those for the rest of your
right.
life, would that be important to you?
1000%. Yeah,
Yeah. Who do you want to start with?
exactly. I want to
Two
interrupt for just a
questions.
second. I do want to interrupt. Doctors listening to this right now, I get to meet doctors in all phases of career, all phases of philosophy, all the different events I go to, all the conventions, all the coaching programs I go to. I get a little taste of everything out there. And there are so many doctors who I meet who are I don't want to use the word lost, but they're not grounded in what they do. And there's some who are they need business help, and there's certain coaches that are, oh, go to that guy because he's the business guy. If you're that doctor right now who just like you need to get clear on what you do and what you deliver, I really encourage you to listen to Dr. Fred here. And I know you have a program coming up. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up in Atlanta, coming up soon for people to go to. But there are so many people who need to hear this kind of message that just need to get really clear on who they are and what they do and what they deliver through chiropractic and get right in the head is the best way I can put it. Because man, so many times I want to shake a doctor like the things they're dealing with. I'm like you just got to get right from a purpose standpoint before you worried about these other things, these other symptoms of your practice you're dealing with.
Well, and here's the thing, man. You got people, well, I need a business coach. Okay, here's your business. Do what I just told you. Get a shitload of families on lifestyle, get them through correction and monthly payments. Now, if you got 400 people paying you $200 a month, that's
Exactly.
not even a lot. That's eight. You got $1 million a year practice before you put your key in the door every month.
And we
Hey,
talk
that's
about that
pretty
all the
good
time.
business.
I mean, we talk about it all the time. Like chiropractic, we don't want to overcomplicate it here. Like we're in the business of it's no different than any ongoing service, whether it's magazine sales, I don't care what it is, where it's a subscription. If you build a large enough clientele who there and you're not worried about them leaving you, so they got the big idea and they understand lifestyle and they're on a monthly recurring payment, you do that and you rinse and repeat that process long enough, you'll have $1 million practice of recurring revenue of, and that's the math. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Like chiropractic is a simple thing, and the business model can be simple. Now, I understand if a doctor wants to do multiple clinics and all the associates, that becomes a little more complicated for them and all the stuff around that. But from the world of like just being successful in your own practice, it's not rocket science. It's really not. We have such a simple message, and I think people need it more than ever today, and they want it more than ever today.
I know. And, it's really simplifying your message. And this is a whole model. Like when you look at four steps, you got the principle, but it's got to be identity. Would you agree the quality of your health determines quality of your life, right? That's spinal cord. What did you do? You just changed the belief system, right? Then nobody told you. You're creating the enemy. I don't ever want to go back. See, if you run into, well, I want to get a second opinion. You know why you got that objection? Here's what I say in Elite. If you get an objection, there's something you missed.
Hmm.
So if they say I want a second opinion from my primary doctor, what'd you miss? You didn't create the enemy. Well, let me get this straight. So you're going to go to the doctor to get a second opinion that never gave you the truth on the first opinion. Why are you going to do that? But they got to get the principle, right?
Right.
So you eliminate second opinion objection. You eliminate all the pain based, well, doc, just cracked my back, just you eliminate all that because they didn't tell them the principle. And now they got 17 health problems passing through generations, right? So now you're the only person that they can go to. Now, if you're the only person, not only will you eliminate them going to anybody else, that's obvious, you also eliminate time and money because now their value to be under your care is exponentially greater.
It's interesting you say this because I just literally had a conversation like this in my own company with some of my employees talking about when the value is high enough, like money to like the lowest common when there's a lack of value, the lowest common denominator is well, what's the cost, right? And when you get past that and you express value and the value is well understood and well accepted, money becomes not an issue. And in this case, time as well, because we're dealing with time as well. In this case, because patients have to come in and repeatedly come in, there's time associated with what we do with them. So yeah, I agree wholeheartedly in that.
Okay, now I'm going to show you how to end day one. So, end of day one, you got to take x-rays, right? So, what are we going to go over tomorrow? So, we have five initial requirements to being accepted as a patient. One, we're going to go over what's causing your condition, how it's affecting your health. Three, we do a 3-day system. So, what your initial recommendation is, and your initial investment. And then number five, we're also going to go over. Oh, hold on, That was the second part. Let me go over what we go over first.
I've
I
done it
forgot
a
the
million
first part.
times where I'm like, I didn't follow my thing.
Yeah, I know. So right after take the X-rays, you bring them back. You got 5 subluxations, 6 posture distortions, 17 different health problems. You're 46 years old. You never took care of your spine and nervous system. Nobody ever told you. Can you see how you ended up this way? What's that do? It focuses them on lifestyle,
Yeah,
right? And then when they say yes to that, so do you play golf?
I don't, but
Okay, neither
I
do
will.
I. But if you're like a 475-yard hole and you're teeing off, you got the big Bertha driver, right? It's got a big old head. You're going to tee that ball up higher and you're going to smack the shit out of it. So putting the ball on the tee is saying, can you see how you ended up this way?
Yeah, you're
Now,
teeing
the
it up.
big 370-yard drive is, can you see why when people learn this, this becomes their healthcare lifestyle? And if you talk about generational pattern for them and their family, if they said yes to see how you can end up this way, they're definitely going to say yes. I can see why this is a healthcare lifestyle. And if you talk about generational patterns, they'll agree with their family. It's like you can't get any easier. Just ask those two questions. But what do you have to do? They got to get the principle. You got to what they weren't told and talk generational patterns.
There you go.
And then you're teeing it up. Now, if you do that with 100% of people, 100% of people are going to say yes. And then you say, here's what we're going to go through to develop study x-rays. What's causing your condition, how it's affecting your health, initial requirements being accepted as patient, initial investment, and here's how you get spouse. We're going to talk about how you want to take care of your health and the health of your family for the rest of your life. Can you see why you want, not need, your husband Jim there? Because you know people buy what they want, not what they need.
Right. Right.
So can you see why you want him here? Why? Now, if they have any objection, let's say they have an objection. Then you go, well, why does it's always Jim and Mary, by the way.
Yeah.
Why does Jim why does Jim think you're here? Back pain. And at day one, why do you think you're here? This is my whole healthcare lifestyle, man. It's my whole family tree. You just got to get my kids in. So do you think that you and your husband making the decision how you want to take care of the health of your family for the rest of your life is probably one of the highest priorities of decisions you want to make together? Would you agree? Everybody's going to
Absolutely.
say
Yeah.
yes. So, and you know this, if you want somebody to say yes, ask them a question they want to say yes to.
Yeah.
Now, if that question aligns with their values and their purpose, 100% yes. So, do you think how you want to take care of the health of you and your family is one of the most important decisions that you and your husband can make together?
For sure.
Now, here's another thing. You're contributing generational patterns to your kids, just like mom and dad contribute DNA. You're contributing a spinal pattern. He's contributing a spinal pattern. These are your three kids. Now you poke on Mama Bear. Mama Bear, I would say one of the worst pains a mother can experience is when their kids get sick and injured. Would you agree?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
you feel everything your kids feel. Dads would be like, oh, they'll be fine. Mom, oh my God, let
Right.
me nurse you, right? So if you are the nurturer of the health of your family, do you want to know what pattern your husband is bringing to your children?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
how important is it to have him here with you tomorrow?
It's very important. Yeah, it's for
You're
sure.
going to get 8 out of 10.
And just to make it clear to everybody in the audience listening right now, the there's a variety of reasons you want that spouse there. The minimum reason, I mean, the big reason is eventually they become a patient and they're part of this whole process, right? They become part of the practice, right? But at a bare minimum, they're at least there so that the present patient isn't saying, "Let me go home and talk to my spouse about it." Like, right? They're
Right.
there to give them the quote unquote permission for themselves to become a patient, let alone, the wife going, "Oh, I got to go home and talk to my husband." If the husband's there, you kind of neutralize that whole scenario. One thing I'll share, because I agree 100% about having the spouse involved. One thing I've done where if the spouse is literally not able to be there, like their work schedules just won't let it, or just
They're out of
they're
town
they're out of town, whatever it is. What I would do back in the day is we would offer to get that spouse on speakerphone. Like we'd get them on speakerphone
or Zoom.
and or nowadays we're doing Zoom right now, right? You just use the technology today makes it really easy for them to do this where they don't necessarily even have to be present in the office. They could just be joining by a Zoom call and participating from their work office. Like so having them participate, don't let if you have this concern about trying to force them in or like that type of thing, you have the way of doing this where you can involve people using technology. Back in the day, we used to take their flip phone and take some pictures of their x-rays and text them to the spouse and get them on a speakerphone. Nowadays, you don't need to do that. You just get on a Zoom call like we're doing right now. But there's really no excuse for not at least attempting to have that spouse involved.
Well, and here's the problem. So yeah, I tried, but it doesn't work. So I gave up asking. Now, here's the problem. You didn't have the right skill level, the right strategy, so you
Right.
lowered the bar on your standard.
Correct.
You can't lower the fucking bar, excuse me. Now, if you are, now this is you and I, we weren't willing to lower the bar, so we had to develop our skill. Now, everything I told you is completely original because the management groups, I had four management groups, and none of them could show me how to get 8 out of 10. And by the way, the worst reason that you could tell why your spouse needs to be here, well, you need their support. Because if you told me, well, you need your support, I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell her she's supported. It's like that's almost offensive to a dude. I'd go support. You have no idea who
You
I
know, it's
am.
interesting you say that. There are certain things that are said to people that are taught in our profession that
Make it
I have
worse.
that makes it worse. Like I'll give it, you gave an example. I'll give an example. If someone was to ask me, and I've heard this taught in our profession of on a scale of 1 to 10, how important it is for you to blah 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 blah, and I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? If it wasn't important, I wouldn't be here. Like, why are you even asking me that? And again, you get
I
that
know.
negative feeling. Like, there's certain questions. I always say they're kind of rhetorical questions. If it's a rhetorical question, you run the risk of really pissing your patient off in some sense.
Well, support, yeah, support doesn't work. I mean, it may work sometimes, but and that's lowering the bar. If it works 20% of the time, what happened to the other 80%?
Right.
Because now 30 or 40% of those are going to say they need to talk to their spouse. Now you're screwed. Now here's the standard in elite. If you have a system that loses one patient, then you're ineffective because that's a whole family tree. So when you develop the skill level that you don't even lose a patient, now are you going to sign up everybody? With what I just told you, you could sign up 9 out of 10 and get 9 out of 10 in the lifestyle. Even if you're 8 out of 10, which there's something you're missing if you're 8 out of 10, you're going to see 1,000 a week. So so that's the whole thing. Um, if you have an objection, there's something you're missing, or you said the wrong thing. You're missing something.
You know,
So
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, that's okay.
No,
Anyway, you're going to want to listen to this recording several times. You're like,
yeah, for
shit, I'm
sure.
trying to, yeah.
And what I was just gonna interject there is like when you say you're missing things, doctors like they need to know what they're missing. What I was gonna say, just from a practical standpoint, practical, when you're learning this and applying this stuff, doctors, if you're not recording yourself and going back and listening to yourself, you're missing the boat. The only way to get better, when you say we honed our skills, how did we hone our skills? I'm going to guess you did a lot of what I did, which is you record yourself, you go back and listen, you make judgments. Did that sound good? Do you need to change? Like, was my tone right? Like, whatever it is, but you're going back and you're not just moving on to the next person, right? You're practicing and you're getting better. Doctors, make sure you're doing like at the minimum, just because you're going to listen to yourself. And when you get done throwing up, you'll like, oh my God, no wonder I need help. No wonder no wonder they're not signing up because of the way I'm sounding. So it's really, really like even this recording right now that we're doing right now, I will go back and listen to this recording, not just to learn from you, but to even listen to myself as that I sound okay in my questions I ask. Like you go back and listen to yourself. To this day, when I go out and speak at conventions, I'll go back and listen to the recordings. And I'm like, that was good. No, I wasn't so good there. And the same thing, like you gotta, that's one of the best ways to improve is just, I know, I don't mean to steal your thunder here. That's not my intention. I'm
No,
just
no,
saying,
dude, you're
when
absolutely
you're saying you're
correct.
missing something, how do they know they're missing? I'm just saying, please go record yourself and listen. You'll figure out very quickly what you're missing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, and I think now, why did you go record yourself and listen? Because you never lowered the bar on your standards. If the bar is 7'2", say, and you're a high jumper, you can't run 5 feet under the bar and then jump on the mat like you won the gold medal.
Right,
People are gonna think you're crazy. So what do? Well, I can only jump 5'1", so I'm gonna lower the bar to 4'8".
right.
Yeah, but now you're losing all these people, your PVA sucks. When in reality, find somebody that can get you where you want to go.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's a good transition, a good segue. I know you have programs regularly throughout the year through your elite coaching, and I know you have a program coming up. I want to just give a shout out to that for those of you who listened to this prior to that program. What is the date of that again?
It's June 5th through the 7th. It's in Atlanta and Buckhead. And what I just told you, we're going to spend 2 days on. all the way through the report of findings to show you exactly how to get every patient to agree it's healthcare lifestyle for them and their family, how to get at least 8 out of 10 spouses a day two, how to sign up spouse and the whole family on day two, June 5th through the 7th.
June 5th through the 7th of 2026. You're listening to this right now and it's prior to those dates and they want to register. How do they do that?
Well, you go to elitecoachingllc.com. Now you can't register. We gotta, we gotta have a discussion to make sure that this is all going to work because
All
we
right, so you're going to
guarantee our result.
pre-qualify. You're going to pre-qualify the attendee to make sure this is the right place for you. So they're not
Well,
going
we're
there.
going to tell them we guarantee a 20 visit increase in your PVA, which means you have a whole new practice. So I got to make sure that this is going to work.
I
Because we'll
understand.
tell you, you will go up 20 visits in your PVA.
There you go. So you're not registering yourself, Doc. You contact them at elitecoachingllc.com, you just said?
Yeah, elitecoachingllc.com.
Elitecoachingllc.com.
Just
Reach
book
out
a
and then
generational legacy call.
excellent, excellent. With that being said, is there anything else you want to add before we kind of wrap things up here?
Everything we know is like, geez, where do I start? I guess the most important thing is what you said, man. People are thirsting for the principle.
I
It's
agree.
like you got to get the principle because this is the time we can disrupt healthcare. Now, the purpose of Elite is to disrupt healthcare. It's not to get people committed to the program. So if we can create a generational legacy, do and that's where we say on day one, you're talking to the generation that's not born yet. So
I
if
love
I'm
that.
talking to you, Miles, we're talking 3 generations from now that you're going to be so purpose driven. You're going to take this through the generations that 3 generations from now, they're getting adjusted from birth. So your goal is to create patients you will never meet. And that's the person standing in front of you that's going to do it for you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I see that as your you say you may never meet them, but maybe you're new in practice and you're going to meet some of these 20 years,
Yeah.
30 years from now, and you're grooming your future patients. That being said, Dr. Fred, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I'm
Thanks,
sure the
bud.
audience got a lot of value out of it. I know I did. By the way, I'll be there. Holly and I will be at your event in June. We're looking forward to being there. So those of you attend who know us, you'll see us there as well. And Dr. Fred, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you. And
I
everybody,
love
you
and
guys have a
appreciate
great
you,
one.
man.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Peace.